Hello ladies and gentlemen, Safehouse here, and today I'll be showing you the best way to invest the points you gain from leveling up. Now, there is a lot of personal preference in these points, so this won't be everyone's optimum build, but this is what I find works best for me. I'll throw the build on screen now for those of you who just want the build, but for the rest of you, we have the option of investing in either health, stamina, oxygen, food, water, weight, melee damage, movement speed, fortitude, and crafting speed. So there are quite a few different things you can choose from. Food and water I wouldn't worry too much about because you can always carry food and water with you or find it easy enough, so it's kind of a dead attribute at this point. Same with crafting speed, it may make things a little bit quicker for you, but in the long run, I don't see it being worthwhile when there's a lot of other things you can put points into that are going to give you a lot more benefit. Now, for the others, stamina is incredibly important because just about everything you do in this game requires it. Everything from chopping trees, sprinting, fighting stuff, mining, all of it. It all uses stamina. And then once you run out of it, you're a very easy target. Also, if you're running from or chasing a player or even a dinosaur, usually whoever can run the longest is going to win out in both situations. Oxygen gives you a longer time underwater without needing a breath and is very important because you'll be spending a lot of time in the water, especially at late game. You can save this until the later levels though, as it isn't as important early on in the game. On the other hand, weight is a really important one early in the game and late in the game, so you want to be picking up points in that really early on if you can, because it does save a huge amount of time going back and forwards between your base and gathering resources and that type of stuff. So if you are building a base, it's really good because it's going to save you a lot of time. Now, melee damage is a tricky one because while it can significantly increase your damage, especially when leveling, you will find late game fights are mostly fought using dinosaurs and guns, so the stat kind of becomes a little bit useless. So if you've got a gun or you're on a dinosaur or using a bow, this stat doesn't affect your damage at all because it's only to do with melee damage and using weapons. I'll leave this one up to you guys. I don't personally invest any points in it, but I don't think it's a bad move if you do because it will help you level and there will be situations that you will be in melee range and using melee weapons. Movement speed is another interesting one because its benefits can be great, but investing a point into it only gives you a 2% increase in speed, which to me is not enough to invest a whole point into. That being said, I do invest 1 point in it, so whenever I'm in a foot chase, if the other person hasn't put any points into movement speed, I'll eventually catch them or I'll eventually escape, so it just gives me that upper hand if they haven't put any points in it. Fortitude is one a lot of people don't consider, but besides the fact it helps you against the heat and cold, it increases your resistance to torpor. This means you can't get knocked out or tranquilized as easy and is a huge advantage in many situations. The benefit it gives you to the heat and cold, it doesn't really seem to be that much, it doesn't really seem to give you a huge amount of resistance to the elements, but the torpor thing really does come in handy, especially if your opponent's using trank arrows or they have a scorpion or something along those lines. I go with 5 points, but you can invest as many as you want if you are having trouble staying awake. Definitely chuck a few more in there. Now the big one, health. I invest all leftover points into health because it is relevant in just about every aspect of the game, and well, when you run out of it, you're dead. You can fall further, hold your breath longer, survive longer in fights, survive longer without food and water, and in the extreme cold. Having a large health pool is just a huge advantage and it is hard to move past. Most of the late game is spent on dinosaurs, so things like stamina and movement speed and melee damage and all that are just completely useless when you're on a dinosaur. But if you have points invested in health, you can still survive longer on that dinosaur if people are hitting you directly, because you can still take damage while you're on a dinosaur. The dinosaur doesn't absorb all that damage for you. It just depends on who's getting hit. You can change this build here and there, especially taking a few points from health if you like. It really is a matter of opinion and preference, but I hope this helped you in making a decision on where you want to distribute your attributes. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope to see you next time.